Okay, everyone, I'm going to give you a test right now, except I'm not going to tell you what it's on until you take it. You will only have a certain amount of time to complete it, and if you get even just one question wrong, you will automatically fail, and every single person in this room will know. Ready? Okay, I'm just kidding, you can all relax. But I want you to remember how you felt just now. You probably felt a lot of pressure on yourself to succeed on this test, even when you had no idea what it was about. How could you do well on something if you were unprepared? Yet you still felt pressured to do well. Tests are unavoidable, whether it's a physical test, a test in school, or a metaphorical test in your life. Each person is put in a pressured situation where they have to put in work to succeed. The pressure that you put on yourself may become unbearable and difficult to manage. The Generation Z teenagers put enormous pressure on themselves to excel in school since they are always told to do their best. However, if their best isn't good enough, then they suffer the consequences of the grading system. A B in the gradebook can wreck someone's self-esteem and self-worth. From another standpoint, people have internal tests regarding the act of differentiating right from wrong. If you make the wrong choice, things in your life will collapse, whether it's friendships, relationships, or opportunities. The unnecessary pressure you put on yourself to pass that mental test can be harmful to your mental health. I want you to take a big sigh together with me right now, because I'm going to tell you that it's not worth putting pressure on yourself to pass artificial tests of your own making. 3, 2, 1. So why do we put so much pressure on ourselves in the first place? Who and what is making us feel so obligated to succeed? And what convinces us that the stakes are higher than they truly are? Well, researchers from Science Direct conducted a study where they investigated parental academic expectations and their agreement with child expectations as predictors of offspring's mental health. The scientists discovered that an excess of pressure placed on the teenager actually has the opposite effect and causes stress and poor performance. If the child is under too much pressure, it causes them to snap. The originator of stress, according to kidshealth.org, is the hormone called adrenaline, which temporarily affects the nervous system. You may get this feeling before you take a test in school, play in a sports game, or when you're going through a metaphorical test in your life. It causes your heart to beat faster, your palms may feel sweaty, or your breathing may become a little shaky. Maybe you've even felt some of these symptoms when I told you I was going to give you this test at the beginning of the talk. Now, I've observed this behavior almost regularly. At school, the kids in my grade and I are always saying things like, I have to do well on this quiz, or I need to do well on this test. We leave all other things on the line solely to focus on the one test that will not even matter in 2 weeks. Teenagers now put so much pressure on themselves to do well in school, to make all the right choices, and to get far in life. For example, a friend of mine recently went through a large academic battle. Maybe you've had a similar experience. Their teacher assigned a 150-point midterm test in a subject that they struggled with a lot. They put tremendous pressure on themselves to do well on this to eventually improve their grade. On top of the pressure that they placed on themselves, their parents told them that if they don't get an A on the test, they will be pulled out of their private school. My friend, upon discovering this midterm test, decided to go in for extra help before and after school the whole week leading up to it. They had to complete the study guide multiple times and were able to teach other students how to do the work. They were beyond prepared to excel on the test. However, when the time came to perform on the test, the pressure that they'd laid on themselves weighed them down significantly. They could not take the stress and pressure that they'd built up for themselves. Now, guess what happened? They passed the test, right? You're wrong. Ultimately, they ended up flunking the midterm. Their grade in the class plummeted, and they were grounded for an extended period of time. But the repercussions weren't as severe as they thought. Luckily, their parents did not pull them out of the school, and everything worked out eventually. The pressure of the situation acted as a block to their success. But here's what's important. With time, they were able to raise their grade and return back to the excellent student that they knew they could be all along. My friend only needed to realize that it's not worth putting such large amounts of pressure of their own making just to pass a test. Now, this concept of pressuring yourself to succeed is pervasive in celebrities as well. Take a look at Taylor Swift. She is one of the most recognized artists of the 21st century, winning 11 Grammys in her career, has had 8 #1 Billboard Hot 100s, and has been named the top-selling artist in music history. But she constantly feels the pressure to prove herself in the music industry. People only tear her down when all she does is rise up. In her song, The Man, from the album Lover, she talks about how she's sick and tired of running as fast as she can, wondering if she'd get there quicker if she were a man. The music industry is dominated by men, and it is hard for women to be recognized for their talent. Taylor Swift is regularly insulted on social media, flamed for her hard work and success. She carries the pop music industry on her shoulders and has so much pressure on her to not let it drop. But here is something that we can all learn from her. She chose not to let that burden weigh her down. Instead, she kept moving forward. She found the right audience to connect with and learned how to take her passion for music and allow it to help others cope. She actively tunes out the societal pressure to deliver chart-topping songs and makes music for her own enjoyment. By reframing your mindset like Taylor Swift did, you too might learn how to tune out the pressure around you. Last summer, I had to learn this the hard way. My all-girls summer camp in the woods of Black Mountain, North Carolina, has a long-standing tradition called the Valor Challenge. The Valor Challenge is a test that focuses on the strength of your mind, body, and spirit. For the girls, it is a 12-hour challenge that occurs during the dead of night in the middle of the woods. You must stay completely silent, with no form of communication, which includes eye contact, pointing, gesturing, grunting, or even speaking. You must build a fire, keep it lit for 3 hours, simultaneously write an essay of 1,000 words, then run up a mountain in 17 minutes, and then perform manual labor around the camp until the silence ban lifts. This test is completely optional, don't worry. But my brother, who attended the boys' version of the camp, took 3 tries to pass the Torchman Challenge, and my sister took 2 tries to pass the Valor Challenge. In a way, it became a tradition within my family to be able to pass one of these challenges at my camp. The summer of 2021, last summer, I got the chance to participate in the challenge for the first time. This challenge is a very important and influential task at my camp. Each of the girls who attend the camp look upon the participating girls with expectations for them to excel and for them to be recognized as leaders around the camp. When I was selected, I wanted to go into the challenge without any expectations for myself, because there was always the chance that I wouldn't pass. But that thought kept me up at night. When I was younger, my siblings used to make little jokes about how funny it would be if I was the only sibling who didn't pass the test. So, going into the challenge, I had the pressure of not disappointing my siblings weighing on my shoulders. So, I was selected for this challenge and was ready to prove myself to my siblings and to my camp. But I was unable to keep my fire lit for the full 3 hours, so I was removed for the challenge. At first, I felt a pang of disappointment and shock. Although I had kept telling myself that I'd had no expectations, in the back of my mind, I thought that I would get further than just building the fire. I had unconsciously placed enormous pressure on myself to excel in this challenge. And when I got out of the challenge, I felt as though I had let myself, my siblings, and my camp down. Once you get out of the challenge, there is a bonfire lit where the girls who got out can sit around the campfire, roast s'mores, and bond with each other. I was able to feel the burden of my failure lifted off my shoulders as I bonded with girls in the same boat as me. They, too, were younger siblings of those who had passed the challenge. We were able to laugh about how stressed we were initially, and were able to kind of make fun of the fact that this test really only matters at our camp. We were all making comments like, "I can't believe I was so stressed over that," or "Why does everyone hype this up so much? It stressed me out for no reason." We made this huge mountain out of a molehill. And we still have another try next year, so our worth is not defined by whether or not we pass the Valor Challenge. And I'm here to tell you that your worth is not defined by your last test grade, your last argument, or if you cracked under pressure. If people only realize that they don't need to put such large amounts of pressure on themselves, they could save so much time and energy. Recognizing that the situation at hand is not going to be a deciding factor in the rest of your life will not only lift pressure off your shoulders, but I have found that it will allow you to be more confident. Limit the amount of pressure you put on yourself, because in reality, it will only make things worse. Remember, you are more than the outcome. Thank you.